Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns. It's brought to you by Patriot Patch Company, VZ Grips, TAC Pack, MAF, and Primary Arms. This show offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Rosier, and I'm here today with a very special, confirmed by all of his physical education teachers throughout middle and high school, co-host. And that's Mr. Ivan the Troll. Ivan, so good to see you.
Hi, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm dizzy.
That's what you look like.
It's true.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It was a pretty good day.
Yeah.
I shot at a gun.
You shot a gun.
It was very cool.
Well, hold on. So you shot a gun. Well, don't
Yeah.
worry. You know, it's hard the first time.
It'll wear. Does it get easier? It was so hard.
That was a thing he did a little while ago. He posted on Twitter. You've been doing an amazing job of Twitter trolling lately, because he literally just posted out of nowhere, "I shot a gun today," and he was getting these responses from like random boomers.
Like, oh, it's okay. You gotta use what kind of gun did you shoot? And I responded with shot and then a space and then gun. Just to stir the pot a little bit more. And then I got lots of people telling me, it's really hard to start with the shotgun. You should start with a 22 instead. And I told them that it was a 22 shot space gun.
Didn't you say like it hurt or something?
Yeah. There's a couple people who were doing like the, oh, it was so scary, like it won't be so bad. And so I figured I'd play into that. And I was shaking and crying afterwards. And I got a couple of people to fall for it and be like, oh, you little bitch, pussy. It was good.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, but anyway, man, it's great to have you on here. I forgot to pull up all of the ads ahead of time. That's a nice scrope.
Yeah, I like the lip vos.
Yeah, lip vos are nice. I like to put them on my 308s.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
Way
I put one on my 308.
I like to pretend like I'm a snipper, and I'm
Mr. Chris Sniper Man.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Chris Snipper of the American Gun movie, and I move it all the way to the big zoom, and I shoot the can, and I see it go
right through their own scope, like through their scope, the can scope.
Yeah, the can scope and everything. So there's one thing we've talked about a lot, and I've gotten a lot of heat on, and every time I talk about this, people are like, and so here we go again. And you actually called this to my attention. The police released the files from the Alec Baldwin shoot 'em scene event.
Shoot 'em scene. That's good.
That happened there.
The notable Las Vegas that happened on the scene of Rust.
which did cause supplies to dwindle. But yeah, so Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office released its report into the fatal shooting on the set of Rust, which reveals text messages the actor sent in the days and weeks after the incident. And there's some pretty funny ones where he kind of gets kind of schizo posty. This is a text he sent to the husband of Helena Hutchins, right? Important for you to keep in mind, the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office may lack both the skill and the will to properly investigate the sabotage angle. I'm told their agenda is to write off as an accident and throw it to the civil courts. And yet, the more that is presented to me about certain anomalies that day, the more open-minded I become. I dismissed the sabotage claim initially, but not now. I hope these NM have the sense to follow it through.
That's something. How is this happening to me? Who could have done this to me? Wow.
So there's also this weird, I have to delete my archive text that he sent.
Yeah, it's a normal thing to have to text people.
But he apparently he was referring to his Twitter archive, which he has long considered deleting.
Right.
Which is exactly, yeah.
And that's why people have lawyers. Your Honor, my client is clearly an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about his Twitter archive.
Yeah. So this is and there was also a lawsuit, right? including one by Alec Baldwin where he sued everyone else that was there.
Which is really impressive because like in this report, probably the most weird thing that I saw come out of it was when Alec Baldwin was voluntarily talking with the cops, which is a strange thing to do after you accidentally shoot someone on purpose.
We don't know if it was on purpose. Remember, this is a
he accidentally did it on purpose.
This is a plausible deniability nuance family household.
There we go. So whenever he was talking to the cops afterwards, he said that he has like great experience with firearms and has been trained in the safe handling of firearms on a lot of different movies, which is strange to me from a standpoint of like, I don't know. I feel like if such a horrible accident had to strike you, I wouldn't like go around saying, I know everything about handling guns safely, and this couldn't have been my fault. Like, you are the one handling the gun. Why would you admit to being good at it? You just shot someone.
Very interesting.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of those moments where like the whatever lawyer is going to end up representing you is sitting there with his head in his hands, like, well, at least I'll get paid because you're going to make some work for him.
Well, it was also announced that the film will restart production next year.
That's really important. I was really excited to see this one. It was the real tragedy here is that I'll have to wait a whole nother year for this movie no one heard about until the thing happens.
I mean, we were all painfully awaiting this movie that we heard about after the thing happened, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But listen, there's another thing that we're gonna have to talk about here, and it's how judges and state legislatures are making everything so difficult.
Yeah.
For police officers and civilians.
Oh, for police officers and civilians.
Yeah, so you have to. This is for you guys who don't know, police officers are civilians.
What an interesting distinction.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a think piece on NBC News. So this isn't necessarily the opinion of NBC News, but it is that of Michael S. Harrison, Commissioner of the Baltimore Police Department, and Walter Katz, Vice President of Criminal Justice at Arnold Ventures. So these are clearly non-lizards.
Yeah, these people, they don't even sit in the sun to air out their scales. They don't do that.
Yeah, no, they have a little lamp.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's important. They talk about how as policymakers are rolling back these gun laws, officers have to worry that nearly every civilian has the means to use deadly force. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Subjects are not supposed to have these means. Yeah, and so then I'm here, they're just deriding that, oh, the judge said that it's unconstitutional to protect people, to prevent people from ever having a gun for a misdemeanor. Can you believe that? That's just one of the latest examples in a troubling trend initiated by the Supreme Court's ruling in Bruin, which signaled the potential for a wave of court-mandated rollbacks. And listen, a lot of people haven't thought about this, but a consequence here is how relaxing gun laws will prevent police officers from doing their jobs properly.
Before Bruin, cops, perfect job. After Bruin, cops in shambles, can't do job.
Yeah, cops cannot do job. It's just amazing.
And why? Because someone in New York might be able to have a gun, maybe. So they can't do no cop.
Well, no, dude, it's simple. This year alone, officers have seized more than 2,200 guns illegally carried on the streets of Baltimore.
That's a shame. Are the guns okay?
Yeah. Well, if it weren't for Maryland's gun licensing law, officers would not be sure if you're allowed to have a gun, and so whether or not they can steal it would be an issue.
It's dangerously vague uncertainty. But before this, anyone could have a gun, and we might be able to arrest them afterwards. Anyone could have a gun. We can't put them in jail.
This means that police will be required to make more split-second decisions that risk tragic outcomes.
Taser.
On both sides of the badge.
both sides of the badge. That's great writing. You can tell a prosecutor wrote that.
Yeah, they're just talking nonsense. The serial numbers are critical to helping police solve crimes.
No, they aren't.
No,
Never.
Yeah, like name one time that the cops have like done anything with them. And of course, people will be like, "Oh, well, no, there was that one time they found that the gun was owned by the guy after they had the guy already."
Yeah, after the guy turned himself in, like, they sure stopped him. Wow, so many lives were no.
But listen, as the tide moves in the direction of more guns on the streets and fewer regulations, police chiefs, they're going to be the first to point out that this trend makes their jobs more difficult and puts officers at a higher risk of injury or death. That extends to everyone, children, the elderly, and passersby in the street. Because the issue is cops are going to be just shooting everywhere. So if you're out, that's that.
The situation they envision is like Boy Scouts trying to help the grandma cross the street for the merit badge or whatever, and the grandma's like, "Son, do you have a gun?" And the Boy Scout's like, "Gotta kill her now." I guess that's how the law works. How the law works now in the brain of a lizard. Like,
look, rather than
anyone could have a gun.
Rather than officers reserving their firearms for only the most dangerous situations, such as a young kid slinging weed, right? Now, cops are going to have to worry that any civilian could have the means to use deadly force. Tensions are going to rise. Trust is going to decline. Trust couldn't listen. Tensions could not rise if we just shot them. Like if we just shot all the civilians.
Oh, that's just great. Because they had a spotless track record up till now, and then this will make it
That's
so
true.
that this will make it so that their spot record might have spots. They make it spotty.
They're gonna be spots. Civilians might win some of the engagements. that would certainly be a spot. Oh, so that's so awful. All right,
officers and civilians.
And civilians. Don't you just love that? A lot of people don't.
What's the lesson there? What's the moral of that story?
Like, I feel like that's one of those stories where you just want to take a big mirror and hold it up. What do you see?
Like there's just undertones there. It's interesting.
Yeah, the way you think about yourself.
This is how they think of themselves.
Yep. But
The
anyway,
more equal pigs and the rest of the farm animals.
But hey, there is good news.
Is there?
VZ Grips is still on the internet.
That's true.
So VZ Grips, another supporter of the show. These guys are great. Florida company. They got the G10 alloy, and they have all kinds of products that they make out of it, including the Hydra G10 dagger, the VZ Boomerang full size grips for the Colt M1911. Yeah, and we got. So let's. I don't know, Mr. Ivan. What would you? What kind of gun would you want to grip for? Let's do shop wall.
The only good gun to grip is a gun worth gripping.
Yeah. So what do we do? Riffle, semi-auto, pistolet, or revolver?
I think last time we looked at the semi-auto pistol. So let's look at the riffle grips, because revolvers aren't real.
Extreme demand. Okay. So we got AR-15. Scar.
Why do they? Let's look at one for good guns. So let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back.
Where's the AK ones? What?
Yeah, where's that? So semi-auto or revolverator?
Let's look at the revolverators.
Okay.
Even though they're not real guns, they can still be good.
I like
the Colt Cabra.
You like Colt Cabras?
Colt Cabras are kind of cool.
Yeah, they're a little cool.
They have a dancing horse on the gun named after a snake. It's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like this tactical diamond.
You're a little revolver guy that I held when I was there, and I held your gun. That had these on it, didn't it? The VZ grips. Yeah. That was nice.
Yep. This guy right here.
I liked them.
This is the Smith & Wesson Hyena Brown, and that's the 320, which is the lightest texture. And here you can get. This is a little more aggressive. The tactical diamond. I think that would be a great choice. I like the way this the black cherry kind of looks like wood a little bit. In the other cultures, you could get thin blue black. Hyena brown, that's the right choice. Black gray, black cherry, and black. There's 3 different blacks. You can have. But yeah, so if you guys use code This week 15, you're going to get 15% off your order. That's a big amount. That's a big money amount. So check them out. They support the show. They're from Florida. That's all good stuff. You need to go and buy the thing and send them. Then you get them to do the anime on your gun. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Right. Tell them anime. Matt sent you.
just put in the notes. Put the anime on the gun,
and nobody gets hurt.
It puts the anime on the gun. Else it gets the memes again. So in this next section now, we're going to talk about some stuff that was talked about last week, getting undone. So there's going to be two. It's very like, and it goes. We'll have some ups and downs. It'll be an emotional journey. So first up, let's talk about that Oregonian thing, right?
Yay.
So last week we talked about Oregon ballot measure 114, which shows us just how great and not a joke democracy is.
It literally did the meme. It's like 51% of people vote that we should eat the 49% of people. We should set them on fire.
That makes sense.
No, well, the majority wants it.
So now, interestingly, the sheriff and others, sheriff and friends, have sued to block the gun restrictions. They're saying that, you know, such common sense things such as banning magazines over 10 rounds and making it so everybody has to have a permission slip in order to acquire a gun might violate some kind of constitution. What do you think about this?
What's that? Never heard of her. The whole Measure 114 thing is weird because I know there's other instances of ballot measure gun control having passed, but this one is like particularly strange because the sort of like timeline that was laid forth for this was like they were supposed to implement a ton of things that the state police were by no means equipped to actually implement, and they had to implement it by like tomorrow. And then whenever the state legislature went and like tweaked the language of it and like hashed out exactly what the definitions would be, they moved up the timeline another month. So the state police like this isn't going to happen. Like we don't know how to run background checks on people with our own background checks.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a similar thing in the hellhole of Illinois where I live, and they have more or less the same system. And it took them like 4 years to get to the point where it's at now, and it still isn't perfect. Like they can't even process people's credit cards to pay for the background checks in the system. It's terrible.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's good.
It'll take Oregon about 4 years to pull this off, not 1 month. So yeah, it's I'm cheesed to see that there's lawsuits coming along because geez, it's an absolute like the magazine capacity thing is like one thing, but like the incredible overreach, and then like it literally is it's the democracy meme where it's like 51% of people decide that 49% of people have to give the 51% all their money, or else they go to jail. Bye bye. I don't think you get to do that. We voted. You have to give me all your stuff.
So the interesting thing that I read is how even the sheriffs in what's the name of this stupid county? Multnomah, which is where Portland is.
Right.
And Portland is, of course, where the bad people are.
Yeah, it's where the stuff does things.
Yeah. So when they were asked if they would give force to it, they didn't just straight say yes, but they kind of hummed and hawed. Like, we're going to try to figure out what they want. This is what they said. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is evaluating how Measure 114 may impact operations. We will be working with lawmakers, key stakeholders, and our public safety partners to determine how to best implement a system that meets the requirements of Measure 114.
You know what's really bad gun control, and even the cops are like, guys,
who's
are
the key stakeholders? Like, is that
like,
just Bloomberg?
Well, I was about to say key stakeholders is probably the moms demanding action. Here's their action.
The grandmoms. Well, and so you might also remember last week we talked about how much of New York's carry law was enjoined.
Yes.
Well, now this week, we put it back.
You can carry. You can't. You can. You can't. You can. You can't. You can. You can't.
On Tuesday, a federal appeals court temporarily reinstated parts of the concealed carry law after a judge last week blocked some of it that restricted it in certain public places.
I'm trying to remember which. I think it was this most recent one, like the judge's excuse or whatever for like like reversing the injunction or whatever, or staying the
temporarily
injunction.
Temporarily staying. Yeah.
It was like some absolute nonsense. Like, well, we have to slow down and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when you're handling these types of things, maintaining the status quo is supposed to be an important consideration, and now the Court of Appeals is like, it was the status quo for like 3 weeks. Let's do the other one.
We have to be fair and switch back and forth every week. Is this a week you can carry or not?
Yeah. Yeah, it must be really interesting being a New York cop, you know. And I take that back. I take it back entirely.
God, that'd be really weird. Like of course, like cops are like just across the country are like drastically undertrained, not only on federal laws but state laws even.
Right.
Like they're not usually kept up to speed with changes that are even like years old. And so stuff that's like changing literally every week, there's no way that this gets enforced in a uniform or fair and or just manner.
Yep, that's literally impossible.
The courts, it's like, one remove from the decisions being made can't even keep it straight.
Right.
And so you go like many removes from there to like cops who get flow down or whatever, and they're just like, can we arrest these guys or not?
I hate this world.
It's rough.
What is the term that we had for this back in college? Oh yeah. Fuck this gay earth. But so you know what? We need to just relax for a second. We need to tone it down. We need to decompress. All right?
Yeah.
So do me a favor. Take a deep breath. And now, in order to maintain proper relaxation, let it out really fast all at once. Okay. So now you know what helps with this type of meditation?
I don't think I can say.
Wind chimes.
Wind chimes, right.
Wind chimes. So
that's what I was thinking.
Another great supporter of our program is the Manufacture d'Armes et Carillon de Floride, which is MAF Corporation. Now, if you go to maf-arms.com, you will find some incredible deals on all kinds of stuff. They've got AR components. They've got downloads, bundle it, save, and then for you hardcore DIY guys, they've got wind chime kits. And what I really like to point out here is the chime time section. If you follow MAF on Twitter, you'll see that occasionally there's a chime time where things are put on a deep discount. And right now under chime time, we've got some of the cheapest you'd ever possibly see on AR parts. We've got these funny uppers, right? Blem raw aluminum AR-10 uppers. We're talking $54. I have not seen that before. AR-15 uppers for as low as $25. And bolt carrier groups, blemish bolt carrier groups, under $50. And then they've also got the Bry pods. They got grand pods. You see Blem raw $24.69. Buffer tubes, barrels, just all kinds of items that are available for sale. Koozies. And a lot of this stuff currently says out of stock, but don't worry, I'll fix it. We have them. I don't know. What do you like here that's on chime time, Mr. Ivan?
I like to do a ringy rhymy chime. But another thing that's fun is like you can do like a super budget build or whatever. Like this was a thing that like on the Reddits they used to do where they'd like compete and see who could build the actual cheapest AR.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's done and over with now. People aren't even competing anymore, but they could do another competition. And I'm pretty sure with some of these prices you've got it, because like a bolt carrier group at like $50,
yep,
or whatever. I mean,
the upper itself,
$24.69.
Right. And they're these weird modular things. And look, that's me.
Oh wow! How do they taste?
That's aluminum. So you can get the little inserts here, and see they're linked down here. People have been buying these forward assist ones a lot. I'm kind of annoyed. It's like, why? Either like I'm going to tell you a little cheat code. You don't need it at all. You can just have a hole in
But what about the guy who did the parkour on the ground and there's just a skateboard and then he said he did it with the guy with the parkour.
If it was me, I would get the slick side block off. I wouldn't put a brass deflector on, but a lot of people want to. Whatever. And I just have it be clean, light, easy. But people keep. So I can only find one legitimate use for this product right here, the forward assist insert, to add a forward assist to the upper.
Yeah.
And that is to force feed a 223 barrel a 300 blackout.
The 223 barrel can have a 300 blackout as a little treat.
With this little trick.
Treat.
So,
are you hungry?
So you guys should buy these uppers, put it together, and I think with the stuff we have on here, you can put an upper together for like.
There was a guy
$150.
There was a guy on Twitter that had like $180 with sights, a complete upper, which is kind of cracked.
Yeah, this is cracked by MAF Corporation. And guys, if you go on there, if you use promotional code FRN, that's Foxtrot Romeo November, it will 1, let us know whether or not these radio ads are working, and 2, give you a discount on top of what's going on here. This is going to be a big money savings to you, the consumer.
And if you build a cheap AR, then you have an AR that was cheap.
That's true. That's true. Actually, I read that in the book once.
This is the wisdom of a dizzy rat.
It is nice to have a just stupid cheap AR.
Yeah, because the nice thing about it is you can do well. They might not like it if you do it at the indoor range where there's an RSO watching you, but you can do dumb stuff with your gun, like just chuck it like overhead like it's an axe, just fling it. Because if it costs like $150, like you can be a little stupid with it.
Yeah,
be a little goofy.
Or if you're like, oh, I'd like to try one of them stupid calibers,
That's also true. If you want to have if you don't want to like get heavily invested in some silly made up caliber.
Yeah, like 5.56.
Yeah, that one is bad.
Yeah, that's a bad caliber. And of course, what's the barrel length? That's the correct one for these.
For 5.56 or.
Yeah, for 5.56 or for any intermediate cartridge like that.
20 inches is
20 inches.
The only available option.
And why is that?
So because it was actually a diversity program. So in the 80s, everybody was becoming more diverse and inclusive. And this is all true. You can look it up. Don't ask me for a source. It's just true. But Colt wanted to become more diverse and sell guns to women and children and cripples, and so that's the reason that they stopped doing 20-inch guns actually. So they started making these little 16-inch ones for like little babies with small arms, or people who in tragic accidents only had one arm, or women and cripples otherwise.
Yeah, and
for really small compact people, started making little baby guns for little babies.
I read that in the book once.
That's okay, because like the 20-inch guns, you can still get them, and 20-inch is really good, and that's what makes a real gun. But then there's people who want their little baby ones. That's okay, because they're gonna be hardcore CQB operators, and they're gonna kick down doors. And you don't understand, because they have to take their gun in their backpack for all the times that the gun's in their backpack. That's why they need their stock to fold up real good too. That's important. They need to do that. They're gonna do that a lot and kick down doors.
Yeah, they can do it every day. They're gonna go camping. They're gonna go camping with their 8-inch 5.56 and impress the bear they encounter with their 9mm muzzle energy.
They're invariably gonna be the same exact people that are like, pistol caliber carbines don't make sense. 9mm not that much energy. It's the size of a rifle. You could just have a short barreled rifle. And these people also have tinnitus because of their 8-inch flashbanger that delivers 9mm muzzle energy. Like twice the cost per round. And they'll sit here and vehemently defend this like they're the ones making rational decisions. And they're like, but pistol calibers won't defeat armor. You think that 223 at 1,800 foot per second is going to defeat anything?
It's just going to make a big noise.
In fact, it will defeat something, and it's the entire purpose of rifle calibers. Thank you.
I love that when we talked about that, and I kind of and we realized that 308 out of a 16-inch barrel was 7.62 by 39.
I think it's 12.
Oh, 12.
It's somewhere down around there. It's like 308 is an example of, with its slow burning powder it's designed around. It does horribly bad the shorter the barrel gets. Like it was designed around a 22, does fine in a 20, down to 18, okay, 16. It's like. But then the shorter you get past 16, it starts doing like horribly worse. To the point where like you're just shooting very big, expensive, loud 7.62 by 39.
Heavy too. And what is what's the, I know we talked about this. What's the length of 5.56 where it effectively is 9mm?
I think it's under 11 inches. Maybe it's 10 or 11 where it becomes having it's from that same barrel length, the 10 or 11 inch barrel that you're shooting 9 NATO out of. It's the same. Which is just kind of funny because it will always be the same people defending their short barreled ARs. Will be the ho 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 pistol caliber carbines don't make sense.
Speaking of that, guys, MAF has 10-inch AR9 barrels.
That's true. And that I think from a ballistic standpoint, like 9-inch is the perfect length for a 9mm barrel. So if you're at 10, that's there.
Yeah. God, I love ballistics.
It's so funny.
It's funny because it destroys dreams.
No, but
and then they're like, "Oh, 300 blackout. Why would you shoot 300 blackout from anything longer than a 4-inch barrel?" It's like, well,
if you had a 4-inch barrel and then like a significant can, at least it wouldn't be loud, I guess.
Right. What I like, so the times I use 300 blackout is I use it as a 7.62 by 39 replacement in guns that are the correct size for that.
Right.
And then people are all like, "What are you doing? That's not the purpose of the cartridge." It's like, excuse me, I'd like to actually hit something good. I'd like to hit it hard, if you don't mind. Oh. Well. Anyways. So next we got a good story now. Listen, the attorney. So let's back up here. Let's do some backstory.
Oh, this one's good. This one's
California's good. Assault weapons definition has been very funny in that they've been fine-tuning it for like 30 years now. And they so previously they had a definition that said, it has to be whatever round magazine and has to feed from that magazine. And that's where the bullet button came in. Right. Because it was a fixed magazine and they drop it out, whatever, do whatever. Then they fixed the law because they hated the bullet button and took out where it says you have to feed from the magazine. So then a funny company came out with the 50. That's the fixed it for you. Maybe let's see. So this is so good. Smart. So California Attorney General has come out with this pressed release, right? Saying, guys, stop it.
Stop bullying me.
Attorney General Bonta warns gun parts manufacturer to immediately stop selling misleading product. And they're saying all this stuff. DOJ finds manufacturer Sky Tactical Supply wrongly claimed its 50 rifle attachment allows buyers to evade California's assault weapon laws. And this is important because California's assault weapon ban is a critical tool to prevent death and tragedy, not a technicality to try to get around, despite, everything that's ever happened.
Well, and so that's, if I can interject, this is an interesting point that I saw Reno May bring up first, where this same Attorney General, Rob Bonta, is arguing in court that California's assault weapons ban can actually stay because there's loopholes and ways people can get around it. It's fine. This ban can stay in place. The ban on assault weapons themselves can stay because there's loopholes to get around them. And then whenever somebody does the loophole to get around them, he's like, "Stop it. The law says you can't do that." So he like has his cake and he eats it too. And
listen, all these guys that treat our gun laws like a game are playing with the lives of families and children. Not only is this company ignoring and sowing confusion about a law that protects Californians, it's also misleading its customers into buying a useless product to line its own pockets. Today's cease and desist letter is a clear warning that Sky Tactical Supply ignores at its peril. The California Department of Justice will hold accountable those who flout our state's common sense gun laws.
I don't like this guy.
So let's take a look at the product.
That's it. That right there. That's it.
So what they're doing is they give you a grip, a Mo grip, that has a little set screw that pins a 5-shot 22 LR. You see that? It's fixed. It's fixed.
Because
they
there's
got a link to the website. They're providing advertisement for the thing. Yeah,
That's
there we
actually
go.
funny.
Fixed it for you. Fixed magazine cage. Oh my god. Yeah,
And
this is great.
It's funny because like the way the laws currently written, it can be an assault weapon if it doesn't have a fixed, if it has a detachable magazine, or if it has a fixed magazine more than 10 rounds. But
Right.
if the gun has a fixed magazine less than 5 rounds, it automatically misses all of the checks for is it an assault weapon, and that they end up defining magazine as like it's just any cartridge feeding device. So if you have any cartridge to feeding device affixed to the gun, which means has to be removed via a tool,
Right.
and that tool shouldn't be something that's just like something you have near you. It should be like an actual thing we recognize as a tool, like an Allen wrench or whatever.
Yeah, like
And
that.
so long as it's removable with such a tool, why at that point that's a fixed magazine, and that fixed magazine has a capacity less than 5 rounds.
Unfortunately, they stopped selling it.
Yeah, it seems like they're perhaps. I mean, I guess it may be smart, but
look at all this crap they wrote.
And I think it's probably because it seems like it's a small company, and it wasn't one that was like prepared to go and fight a great big legal battle. But I mean, to me at least, it seems like with the right group of competent lawyers or whatever, you could totally actually fight them over this, because what the law says is what I mean. They're following exactly what the law says.
Yep. Although I will piss on Sky Tactical real quick. You applied for a fucking patent, you monkeys.
Yeah, that's
insane. Stop.
That's dumb. Why would you patent
that
this?
way?
Why would you patent this?
Why you wasted your money? Like, I'm sure a patent lawyer told you, "Oh yeah, no, we can give it a go. Oh yeah, yeah, just go ahead and pay the $15,000 retainer, and we'll give it a go."
We can patent putting a magazine in a pistol grip. No one's done that before. It's probably never been tried.
Yeah, no,
maybe.
I think we'll give it a go. But yeah, so this is the legal analysis in the cease and desist letter, and it kind of tells you a lot when California is sending you a full legal analysis in their cease and desist when maybe they're not that confident. Listen, the department has concluded that the FIFI installed with the suggested magazine is not a fixed magazine, and thus would not render a semi-automatic centerfire rifle exempt from the 2 definitions of assault weapon previously described. Okay. And then they go on to give the definitions, which totally include this. California regulations define a fixed magazine as an ammunition feeding device contained in or permanently attached to a firearm in such a manner that the device cannot be removed without disassembly of the firearm action.
And I know they complained about like, well, it doesn't feed from the magazine, but nowhere in the actual law or the penal code or anything else, the law or the penal code site, does it say it has to feed from the magazine.
Well, no, they deliberately took that out because of
oh, it's so good.
Oh my god. Patent pending.
Because the way that they ended up dealing with the bullet button is they made it so like the magazine itself can't just like drop out of the gun and then be replaced, because the bullet button just worked by like you took a bullet and you had to push the magazine release in with a bullet or other pointed implement like a screwdriver.
Do you remember when guys had like things taped to their thumbs?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was such a thing.
But like I guess that's a tool or whatever, but then they're like, well, no, it doesn't have to be a tool because the magazine you can't fall out and then be put back in, and then they they let the people who had bullet button guns get on the assault rifle registry or assault weapon registry,
right?
And then tweaked the language in their law real quick, and then rolled the dice again, and people will continue to find ways around it because for being the guys leading the charge of writing these sorts of laws, they're shockingly bad at it. Like,
yeah, no, they're like
grossly incompetent. They're grossly incompetent.
Like, there are states who have laws that are hard to get around, and it's not California.
Like how is their definition of magazine not going to include like it has to use it in some capacity? Nope, they don't care.
Right.
Or their definition of fixed is like you have to use a tool to remove it, which I guess is okay, but like, geez. And I guess the current version of it says the rifle has to be partially disassembled in order to use a tool to remove it. But you have to take the pistol grip off to disassemble this. So it's kind of slick. I like it.
Yep. I think it's funny. But anyway, let's move on now to another stupidness. Maryland. Maryland is a. Did you know, Mr. Ivan, that Maryland is bad?
Yes, this has been known.
Okay, well, Maryland is now voted to restrict gun possession. A specific county in Maryland, sorry, has voted to restrict gun possession in most public places.
I love voting. We should just vote. We should just vote. We should get 51% of people to vote. That 49% of people don't get to vote anymore. That's what we should do. That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just like boil that down enough times, and it's like we have a monarchy. How many times do you have to boil that down, simmer it, reduce it until it's a fine mushroom reduction?
Right. This is so ridiculous.
And I get to make all of the rules.
So no, this is the city council, and we all know that city council governments are the best ones because they are not just a bunch of weird boomers with time monopolies. They're the good government.
Yes, of course.
And they voted unanimously. They all agreed on Tuesday to ban the possession of firearms within 100 yards of a place of public assembly.
Interesting.
Now, of course, it's got some exemptions for cops.
Oh yeah,
and security guards.
Private security, use their own private security.
And your house.
Jeez. Right.
But it also bans possession of firearms in most public places, including a park, a place of worship, school, a library, a recreational facility, a hospital, a community health center, a long-term facility, or a multi-purpose exhibition facility such as a fairgrounds or conference center.
Literally just everywhere. Just tell us where we can carry, because at that point it's easy. It's a shorter list.
It's a small price to pay, man.
It's a small. We're gonna keep all the children safe from the people who are. I mean, like, because the restrictions on what you can carry and where you can carry it have always struck me as being particularly stupid. Because like the people who are going to like do something with a gun in these places you don't want them to aren't going to be upset by a 10-year penalty for doing it. Because they're rolling for like the whole life sentence.
You need to listen. You need to stop with that. That's nonsense.
Yeah,
listen, this legislation will help ensure that we do everything possible to minimize the number of guns in our public space.
Yes, that's what it'll do. Except we're not minimizing it, are we? Because cops can still have them. We're not minimizing anything.
The people who can be trusted, at least with guns, will certainly still have them.
We're trying to maximize the number of the right people, the people who aren't. There's cops and citizens. Not the citizens one. We want the other one. They're okay.
Yeah,
we trust them. They're
occupying
good.
Forces. No, listen, man, this makes sense. It's common sense. Common. They had confidence that the Maryland General Assembly will take action, but this is urgent. Given the urgency of gun violence in Montgomery County, he felt strongly that they couldn't wait at the local level. So what they were going to do is just shit it up really good.
Yep.
So that and write it in a way that their little tiny, non cum laude graduate interns would help them do in a very sloppy and slipshod manner to make sure it gets overturned.
Of course.
Yeah, that's
so then they can cry foul and go, oh gosh, the NRA, they did this to us. They're having their interns jam the stick in the bicycle wheel and then going, oh, the NRA.
That's right. Yeah, the twitching corpse of the NRA, I'm sure, will be blamed.
They did it.
But this is pretty horrible. And I hate Maryland.
Yes,
I will say that. Yeah, this is an article written by Paul Best at Fox News. Paul Best. What a name.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. All right. Did you take a look at this?
You look at this? Camera guy, getting this?
Listen, there's a cat called Glockz, Glockz. And he's finally in custody. This notorious Virginia man. He's in custody.
Dude, that rubber band grip, dude.
That's big.
Yeah.
This is the gun. The gun as it appeared after it was seized by Fairfax County detectives.
He got the thin blue line. How are they going to do him like that? He was on their side.
You guys got
the thin blue rubber band.
Thin band line. Notorious Northern Virginia man. He pleaded guilty on Thursday to possessing a gun as a felon after firearms were found in a vehicle as he fled the scene of a drug sting in Fairfax County. So I would just like to talk about the epic adventure of Glockz. So
he was Austrian, right?
Yeah. According to court records, on April 11th, an undercover cop with Fairfax County arranged to buy cocaine and fentanyl from 28-year-old A.G. Whitaker, aka Glockz. And that's, you definitely know your client is down to party when they're buying those two things at the same time.
Of course.
When an officer arrived and attempted to arrest Glockz, his co-conspirator tried to leave the scene in a Cadillac Escalade because, of course, while he was trying to flee, he rammed into a police car and then tried to flee on foot.
That's a mistake. Don't get out of your car.
During this time, Whitaker threw a bag into the back of the Escalade, and then when Glockz and his co-conspirator were eventually arrested and the bag was searched by police, they found a semi-automatic ghost gun.
Semi-automatic.
Loaded with a 50-round drum magazine. Along with another loaded stick magazine.
Oh my gosh.
The two magazines. So I like it. Loaded with a 50-round drum mag along with a stick mag. The two magazines contain a total of 56 rounds of ammunition.
Either not good at writing or
well,
this guy
which one was downloaded?
56.
Yeah, look at it.
Let's see. Let's look at them winkers right there. Is it? I guess I only see the one stick.
Yeah. Well, there's the drum right there. So yeah, these two photos showing the same unregistered gun seized by authorities were taken from an Instagram account maintained by Whitaker under the username Professor Glockz, again with a Z. This is great. He was previously convicted of a felony in Prince William County and is prohibited from having firearms, and so that's what he pleaded guilty to.
Guilty, man.
All right, so next story here. How many times have you been to the fast food service, the quick service food establishment?
What's that?
How many times have you been to a fast food quick service establishment and had the establishment workers, those lovely workers that are worth whatever amount of money they're demanding now, had them make an error?
Most of the time it's been really good for me, but whenever we were in Texas, it like happened multiple times, like in a day. It was not great. Like everywhere you went, it was like, okay, I mean, it's not close, but all right.
Well, for me, I'd say it's more often than not.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
But, and I'm a Floridian. Well, there was a man. So let's see, where did this happen? Where does this happen? Let's take bets on the state.
I mean, it is like sort of a Florida thing, but like,
yeah. And I did have this posted in the Discord from our friend Sabby over at the Bad Guys, asking if it was me. See, what is Gastonia?
I said diet.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
I have sued fast food joints for not giving me diet, so I'm sick of it.
As one should.
But so yeah, so anyway, we'll quit teasing. Man allegedly pulls gun on Wendy's employees after not getting sauce with his meal.
You don't give me the sauce, you're gonna get sauced.
Wendy's employees closed the drive-thru and called 911 after he allegedly drew a gun over missing sauce packets.
It's just a misunderstanding.
Employees said the man, 35, was driving around the parking lot brandishing a gun and refusing to leave. So this wasn't just like he's in the drive-thru and he's like, yo, give me the sauce. And he's like, my man started like roving. He's like, get it out.
The sauce comes out now with his hands up.
Officers spoke with an employee at Wendy's who told him that the man was upset that he didn't get any sauce with his meal. The man began arguing with the employee, pulled out a handgun, and threatened to shoot the employee. The employee closed the drive-thru window and immediately called 911. Officers who were talking to the man in the parking lot recovered a handgun from the man's pants pocket and determined the gun had been reported stolen in Mecklenburg County.
So this is a lesson. Next time you're going to like pull your gun over the missing sauce, make sure it's not the one you stole.
Yeah, do the other gun.
The regular gun, because then it's not illegal.
Yeah, and I'll confirm that wasn't me. I don't go to North Carolina, aka Discount Virginia. I don't want that. Oh. We have one more sponsor word. And you know what? It's turkey time. Turkey time.
That is, it's turkey season.
Yeah, it's turkey saison. And my camera doesn't want to focus during turkey saison. Come on.
That's just how the patch looks.
Yeah, that's how the patch is. Gobble gobble. It's a turkey with night vision goggles.
It's a night turkey. Can birds? Any birds see in the dark? Like, well,
they can with GPNVGs. That's for sure.
That's true. They got panoramic night vision.
GPNVGs in a Mark II pineapple hand grenade.
Has anybody ever like given animals night vision to see if they're like do animals geek out about night vision too? Like put it on and they go, whoa. Whoa. Is this real?
I could have this.
What animal would have the most force multiplier out of night vision? Like what animal that when given night vision it would be the biggest force multiplier for them? Because like bats and owls, it wouldn't really matter because they're already like lethal in the night. But
hogs.
Yeah,
hogs, because they can't really see anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you gave them that at night, they could see pretty good.
Oh, especially because everybody who hunts them is like using like digital night vision setups with illuminators because hogs can't see it anyway. Yeah. Now the hogs can see you from a mile away, dude.
Yeah, they just charge at the light.
They'd be ambushing you because like the hogs aren't cheap and they don't have this digital stuff. They have real panoramic night vision. They're gonna see you from a mile away. They're gonna be waiting for you.
That's big. Well, anyway, this patch, which inspired this healthy discussion, courtesy of Patriot Patch Company. Patriot Patch Company has been the longest supporter of This Week in Guns, at least during my tenure. I super appreciate them as a sponsor, and every month I get one of these patches. So I want you guys to go check them out. I've got a promotional code for you. It's TWIG10. Join the Patch of the Month Club, and like me, you can enjoy one of these patches in your mailing unit every month. It's a real hoot, it's a hauler. I enjoy it. It's a trip, it's a trap, it's wonderful. This month, November exclusive, you'll get a bonus patch with the American Defense thing with the G36 on it.
Yeah, that's the
gun. That I have a G36. It's a basket. It's a bad gun.
It's a bad gun.
Yeah, if you shot my G36, right?
Yeah, I was after all of the Call of Dutying and stuff, and the fact that people chimp out about them, I was like, okay, I really want to see what this is about. It's really awkwardly balanced, and I was like, okay, I sort of expected that. It's got AR-18 syndrome, right? The piston makes it heavy in the front.
Yeah,
and then like the trigger is nothing to write home about. The ergonomics,
the trigger is something to write home about, and how bad it is.
It's like not fantastic.
It's less than that, dude. It's nightmare level.
The handling and ergonomics are like, I hate the bolt release and the trigger guard. I just don't like that.
And that was an improvement on the one here. Hold on, let me grab this. I'm gonna give. People are gonna want to see the people with guntism want to see it.
He wants to see it. It's
and
the
of course, when I got this, I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and I got it with the correct barrel length. Right? Yep. Here, hold on. I got it with the correct barrel length. I got the long boy, and it just sucks.
It's not the best.
Yeah, the stock release, where it just like kind of like shittily bends over this plastic McGubbin.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be very careful not to break it off because it'll shear right off. Like mine's already massively deformed. The trigger is mostly plastic, and it feels that way.
Yep.
The detent is a plastic ratcheting piece. This, like,
I hate the charging handle.
The charging handle, yeah.
I had an airsoft G36, right? And I always felt that the charging handle felt like really lame on it. And imagine like the real one would feel sturdy and it would be rigid and it'd be like, this is respectable. And then when I went and felt it, I was like, oh, this feels exactly like an airsoft gun.
It is exactly. Yeah, it has it inspires no confidence.
It does not.
And we had this guy over here, and you can push it in. Oh, and you can use it as a forward assist. No, you fucking can't. That shit will break right off.
Yeah, it's kind of feels fragile.
Yeah, it's a pile of junk. But like the thing is, it's a pile of junk not for the reasons people think it's a pile of junk. It's like there's nothing wrong with the design inherently. It's just the way they built it.
It's a pile of junk in all the ways that matter once you go to shoot it.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's kind of cool, but
it's cool looking, and I like it being an AR-18.
I like the one that has the gigantic carry handle, and I thought the integrated optic in the carry handle was super cool.
It is cool. It's also very hard to use.
Yeah, I haven't got to use one of the guns that had the optics mounted, but I have got to handle one of the optics, and it's shockingly 90s.
Yeah, it's not good. So I have gotten to use one of those, and it was. Let's just say I gave up on expending the money to attach one to my G36. I'm just like, okay, now I have one, and it goes in the pile of guns that don't get shot.
So here, like, if Primarily Arms listens, what they need to do is make one of those that doesn't suck. Like, make a red dot.
They can do it so easy.
Make a red dot 3x prism combo, but make it not suck.
Or just like put an LPVO, put your smallest LPVO in a Douglas for it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that.
That'd be kind of cool.
Never mind Primary Arms. We're just going to do it. Okay?
Never mind.
Yeah, forget it. Forget what I said. Yeah.
We patented it. This is a patent.
Promo code TWIG10 for Patriot Patch Company. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for coming. And as always, we will see you next time.
Goodbye.